All right, welcome, brethren. It is 10 a.m. here in New York, and we're about to start. As some other brethren will join us, I'll obviously let them in as we go along. I'm not sure whether all our responders are in yet, but as they arrive, we'll obviously facilitate that process. That was the BYU University Men's Choir chorus with your friends. Welcome, all brethren, to the fourth International Masonic Town Hall, including the United States, Canada, South Africa, India, Lebanon, Angola, Bulgaria, Switzerland, and Ecuador. Just a few statistics for this edition. 9 countries, 5 U.S. states, 11 Grand Lodges, 82 lodges, 3 Supreme Councils, Scottish Rite Northern Masonic Jurisdiction, General Grand Chapter Royal Lodge Masons International, 11 time zones, 100 confirmed attendees, 9 most worshipful brethren, 22 right worshipful brethren, 3 very worshipful brethren, 45 worshipful brethren, 6 illustrious brethren, 11 most illustrious brethren, and 1 puissant, or most puissant. And with that, I welcome the entire executive of the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite of South Africa, and 1 most excellent General Grand High Priest. Before we begin, I want to ask you what a day in your life looked like before March 2020. Chances are, if it wasn't in the calendar, it didn't exist. And most of us hardly noticed the world around us. I encouraged a brother from Turkey to join the town hall, and he said, I got home one night and noticed a beautiful, somewhat familiar woman in my house. Turns out she was my wife. and these two tall boys who turns out to be my kids, and a dog that didn't recognize me. I'm going to enjoy them while I can. With all the negativity of the pandemic, I wonder if the universe hasn't flipped the reset button to remind us of what matters most. With that, I want to wish our brethren in South Africa a belated Mandela Day, and to our most puissant 33rd degree Sovereign Grand Commander, Brother Put Duplessis, I want to share this.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks very much.
All right. I'd now like to introduce the conveners, and I should take this opportunity to congratulate my co-host, who's now the worshipful Brother Arthur Myers, for being installed in the chair of the Guiding Light Olympia Masonic Lodge, situated in Nassau County here in New York. It's number 808 on the roll of the Grand Lodge of New York. Worshipful Brother Myers, kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Brother Barron. Just like to introduce myself. As you know, my name is Arthur Myers. I'm the Worshipful Master of Guiding Light Olympia Lodge number 808, located here in New York. Just being elected, installed, and raised, put into the position of the Master of the Lodge the other night. So it's new territory, but I'm looking forward to a good year. I'm also a 32nd degree Mason, Scottish Rite Mason, having been the past Tripotent Master of the Scottish Rite Valley of Rockville Center. And I'm also a Shriner, a noble at Kismet Shrine in Hicksville, New York. I wish you all safe and healthy future in these crazy days and times. And that's it for today from me at this moment. I'm going to turn it back to Edgar so we get the show on the road.
Thank you, Worshipful Brother Myers. Of course, I'm Worshipful Brother Edgar Keith Barron, presiding Master of Lodge Cape Town, number 138 on the roll of the Grand Lodge of South Africa, or your host today. Just the rules one more time. Kindly ensure that your microphone is on mute. Lodge decorum applies with no signs of recognition. You are, of course, welcome to communicate with each other on chat, either publicly or privately. The session is being recorded and will be made available to senior brethren and lodge secretaries for redistribution on request. It's not for publication, but for educational purposes only. Our responders are reminded that some brethren may be below the rank when they respond to certain questions. We will open with an opening inclination, which I will read. And then we'll have a short visual presentation from Shriners International. The town hall will be for approximately 1 hour and 30 minutes, and we can continue socially thereafter if you so wish. With permission of all parties, contact details will be shared, and 10 minutes is allocated at the back end of the town hall for any questions from the floor. Sign of reverence, brother. Great architect of the universe, we thank you for your grace and favor in trying and unprecedented times, for protecting us from this pandemic and its socioeconomic impact. We pray that the balance of the equilibrium will be restored and that our wisdom, that your wisdom be upon those who are designated to navigate society through these turbulent waters, and that the families and communities impacted find comfort in you and each other. We pray that you bestow the manifold blessings from your inexhaustible store upon us all. As we gather in your name, we pray for your guidance, that our discussions will be to the benefit of Freemasonry in general, and to the honor and glory of your holy name. So much to be. It has been an interesting few weeks, with infections increasing rapidly, particularly here in the United States. And as has become customary during the town hall, I would like to call on the most respected Brother Gregory J. Scott, the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of New Jersey, to call for a minute of silence for those who have passed away and the families impacted by this pandemic, and then to declare the 4th International Masonic Town Hall open. Most worshipful Brother Scott.
Thank you, Brother Edgar. My brothers, Let us take a minute of reflection and observance for those who have passed to the lodge on high and those who need our prayers and assistance. Please be upstanding. Amen. My brothers, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, most worshipful sirs, distinguished guests, and my brothers all. I welcome you to the 4th International Masonic Town Hall. And hopefully today we've all come together to obtain a little more light, a little more understanding of what goes on not only in our own country, but in the 11 countries that I think Edgar said has joined us today. It's great to share information and to learn from each other. So with that being said, I'm proud to be with you today, and I wish you all well. Thank you, my brothers. I declare the town hall open.
Thank you very much, Most Merciful Brother Scott. I now wish to acknowledge the Grand Lodges participating. The Grand Lodge of South Africa, including the Provincial Grand Lodge of the Southern, the Northern, and Eastern Cape Divisions, the Grand Lodge of New York, Grand Lodge of New Jersey, Grand Lodge of Arizona, the Grand Lodge of Mississippi, Grand Lodge of Manitoba in Canada, Grand Lodge of India, Grand Lodge of Lebanon, the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria, and the Grand Lodge of Ecuador. The General Grand Chapter Royal Lodge Masons International, the Capitulo Nufocado, the Royal Lodge Masons und Mexico, and the Supreme Royal Lodge South Africa, the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite Northern Masonic Jurisdiction of Delaware and of South Africa. We are honored by, and I now wish to acknowledge the presence of our senior brethren among us, including some of our responders, the Most Worshipful Brother William Sodone, the Grand Master of Grand Lodge of the State of New York, the Most Worshipful Brother Gregory J. Scott, Grand Master, Grand Lodge of New Jersey, Most Worshipful Brother Gordon Fordeaux, the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Manitoba, Most Worshipful Brother Rafi H. Timonian, the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Grand Accepted Masons of Lebanon, illustrious Brother Peter Samiek, Grand Lieutenant Commander 33rd Degree Scottish Rite, Masonic Jurisdiction, and illustrious Brother Richard Elliott, the Grand Minister of State, 33rd Degree Scottish Rite, Northern Masonic Jurisdiction. Our past potentate, illustrious Sir Dominic Falcone, Mecca Shriners, Shriners International. Our Southern Grand Inspector General for the Southern Region, 33rd Degree, Most Illustrious Brother Ahmed Patel, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite, South Africa. Illustrious Brother Ricky L. Swan, the Supreme Council of the State of Delaware. The Most Excellent Companion, our Brother Edmund D. Harrison, General Grand Chapter, Royal Lodge Masons International. Most Excellent Brother Emmanuel Franco, Past Grand Priest, Capitulo Nufocado, the Royal Lodge Masons in Mexico. Most Worshipful Brother Jeff Edwards, OSM Past Grand Master and now our Grand Secretary of the Grand Lodge of South Africa. The Most Worshipful Brother William J. Thomas, the Grand Past Master of the State of New York. Most Worshipful Brother Roger Quintana, Past Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of New Jersey. Most Worshipful Brother Plamen Mateev, the Past Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria. Most Worshipful Brother C. Ray Haldane Wilson, Past Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Manitoba. Right Worshipful Brother John Smith, OSM MSA, who is the Grand Master-elect for the Grand Lodge of South Africa. Right Worshipful Brother Richard Kessler, Deputy Grand Master, Grand Lodge of the State of New York. Right Worshipful Brother Avon Jacobson, MSA, Assistant Grand Master, Grand Lodge of South Africa. Right Worshipful Brother Keith Hutton, the Provincial Grand Master of the Eastern Cape Division, Grand Lodge of South Africa. Right Worshipful Brother Thomas William Hardiman, the Provincial Grand Master of the Southern Division, Grand Lodge of South Africa. Right Worshipful Brother Franz Oppelgren, Provincial Grand Master, Central Division, Grand Lodge of South Africa. Right Worshipful Brother Brian Rousseau, our past Grand Senior Warden, Grand Lodge of South Africa. Worshipful Brother Xerxes Harrington, past Grand Orator for the Grand Lodge of Mississippi. And then respondent for India, our Worshipful Brother John Zakaria, Assistant Regional Grand Master, Southern Region, Grand Lodge of India. And last but not least, our Pearson Brother Victor Frederick Marshall Muhlenberg, 33rd Degree, Acting Sovereign Grand Commander of the Supreme Council for South Africa, who will now bring fraternal greetings, and whereafter perhaps if illustrious Brother Peter Semiak or Richard Elliott would like to respond, would be free to do so. Brother Muhlenberg.
Brethren, it is my privilege to bring you the warm fraternal greetings of the Sovereign Grand Commander of the Supreme Council for South Africa, as well as members of his executive And I would also like to add that he has bestowed a great honor upon me by allowing me to represent him. Although he is recovering from a hospital stint, I am pleased to also recognize him here today. It is also an honor that our Supreme Council has been invited to attend this fourth town hall meeting. My brethren and colleagues, it has been said for a number of years now by Masons everywhere that our fraternity is experiencing great challenges, and that we as current leaders have been handed a responsibility to build a more relevant, inclusive, and sustained order that will be a manifestation of the Masonic principles encased in our ritual for generations to come. And it is up to our leadership to ensure that Masonry will, when these events pass, bring about a renaissance. This legacy is ours, and we will be judged if we should fail. I'm ever delighted to see for the first time in a long Masonic career that COVID has granted us the opportunity to engage on a global scale, something we have never conceived even a few months ago. I thank you and greet you well.
Thank you, Brother Wildenbeck. Did the Scottish Rite Northern Masonic jurisdiction want to respond to that? Brother Semiak, Brother Elliott?
Good morning. I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity to be here and share this morning with you. This is my first experience with this, as well as illustrious Brother Elliott's. You know, it's going to take us a while to get used to the format and so on and so forth. I'm not sure exactly what words I can say to respond to that, except thank you for those. Except thank you to Brother Mullenbeck for those words, and I'll defer to Brother Elliott if you'd like to add to that. Thank you.
I would echo Brother Samek's remarks, and thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this group here this morning. These are certainly trying times, and I think it offers a great opportunity for us as Masons across the world to step up and lead the way for others. We're pleased to be here on behalf of illustrious David A. Glatley this morning, and hope that we can contribute all that he would have shared with you today. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Brother Elliott and Brother Semiak. Before I continue, Brother Bud Duplessis, I don't know whether you can see that, but effectively that is a gift from Brother David A. Glatley to you, and I'm not sure that he knew that it was your birthday today. Perhaps he did, perhaps he didn't, but I have this in my possession, and I'll certainly hand it over to you on behalf of the Scottish Rite Northern Masonic jurisdiction at the very earliest opportunity.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Right, brethren, with that, there's a number of other senior brethren here that I did not mention, but all protocols are observed. I will begin with the introduction to the Shriners International and the topic being charity in a pandemic. Now, how we normally arrive at our topics is we request of you to share with us what you would like in the next edition of the Masonic Town Hall. And one of the topics came from a brother in South Africa who has a great admiration for the Shriners and the work that they do, requesting more information about their activity, and in this time of COVID-19, how they have been impacted by and managed to continue their mission in raising funds during this pandemic with no end in sight. So here is the past potentate, illustrious Sir Dominic Falcone from the Mecca Shriners, Shriners International, who is the Marketing and Communications Director for Region 11, to respond to this question. Brother Falcone.
Good day, brothers. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of this distinguished panel. It's truly a gift to be able to share something that I hold so close to my heart and convey it to you all. What I'm going to do is I want to share a 1-minute video and then give a very, very brief discussion on the history of Shrine, how it came to be, and then lead into the topic of discussion.
As the world emerges from the COVID pandemic, Shriners Hospitals for Children realizes the enormous trials and tribulations families and their children have endured. We understand many families have lost their income and their health insurance. We want you to know Shriners Hospitals for Children is here for your child, providing highly specialized orthopedic, musculoskeletal, burn, and cleft lip care, regardless of a family's ability to pay. We are part of the community and remain dedicated to caring for kids, ensuring their healthcare needs are met during these unprecedented times of economic and insurance instability. Shriners Hospitals for Children.
Two brothers back in 1870, Brother Walter Fleming and William Florence, used to meet at the Knickerbocker Club. It's a Masonic gathering down in Manhattan. Well, very quickly, 1870, two brothers, Walter Fleming and William Florence, got together, wanted to create a fraternity centered on fun and fellowship and not so much on ritual. So that came to be as the ancient Arabic order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, which you know today is being Shriners International. In the video, it did articulate our services, but I'll elaborate further. And about 50 years later, we decided to create our philanthropy surrounded by Shriners Hospitals Children. So in 1922, we did our first hospital. Today, we have 22 non-for-profit Shrine hospitals across North America. Our services include orthopedic conditions, burn and spinal cord injuries, and cleft lip and palate repair. And in the video, it also articulated that regardless of the family's ability to pay, we annually raise to our philanthropy about $1 billion a year to finance our hospital. And how this is accomplished, obviously, I want to refocus that attention because of COVID, because that's the discussion we're having today, and how it's affected our fundraising, our hospitals, our shrine centers. Now, our shrine centers are autonomous, maintain our own financing, just like Lodge. We have to pay our own overheads, but our philanthropy of choice is obviously our Shriners Hospitals for Children. So what we've been doing since the pandemic took off, which really, I'm in New York, so we were devastated initially within the United States. The epicenter of this pandemic really was at the heart of New York City. So we shut down completely. That initially gave us our refocusing on how to address these positions based on the CDC and the World Health Organization. So to follow those guidelines, we've actually followed, and I must say, I got to give a lot of credit to our most worshipful William Sardone. I got to be honest with you, I've been following his lead. We've been following in New York, our shrine centers, basically our Grand Lodge direction. During this time, we've been focusing our attention on, I love to call it our digital real estate. We have new real estate at our disposal, hence the ability for all of us to sit here today and actually talk to each other all over the world. And so we've been focusing on Zoom fundraisers for our Shrine Center. Now, it's been actually quite successful. We do miss the fellowship, the camaraderie. I mean, all of us on this conversation understand how relevant that relationship is to each other, how we interact with one another. But through these Zoom opportunities, we've been able to maintain some fundraising, some pretty incredible ideas, which you have to look outside the box of. I don't want to digress in regards to how our shrine hospitals have been coping with fundraising, because that is our shrine center's responsibility to contribute to our hospitals. Our hospitals also maintain, given the circumstance, I want to elaborate a little further on how our hospitals actually maintain our philanthropy and support themselves financially. We work with charitable remainder trust, annuities, other planned vehicles. We accept grants from private, corporate, and community foundations, gifts made through donor-advised funds, through banks and financial entities. We work very closely with corporate partnerships, promotions, or percentage of sales. So we also work with non-monetary gifts for our hospitals, like toys, clothing, other personal properties, cars, airline miles. And the way we achieve this is basically Shriner Hospitals for Children is a fully qualified 501c3 charitable organization under the IRS regulations in the United States. Donations are tax deductible to the fullest extent provided by law. So we have an infrastructure because the primary source of our Shrine Hospitals don't come primarily from our Shrine Centers. Our Shrine Centers, our philanthropy is focused on contributing to that. So there is a balance right now that we do to do our best to support our hospitals, but there is infrastructure that allows that to continue. I wanted to now lean right into how we've been dealing with our patients at our hospitals at this time. Obviously, as I articulated, we were devastated. The heart of the pandemic started in New York. It's been traveling across the United States. So other Shrine Centers did not have to confront the issues we did initially, but the common thread, and I want to point this out if people aren't privy to this, several years ago, about 3 years ago, we started to refocus our attention on telehealth. Right. In each Shrine Center, we have a unit called our Shepherd's Unit. Our Shepherd's units normally pick up children in our local communities and drive them to the nearest hospital that's associated to their needs in our demographics. Now that's quite a bit of an expense, and a lot of those visitations would be in a one-day event. You would go pick up the child, you would drive them to the hospital, you would wait a couple of hours, and then drive them home. So what we've discovered, and this is really accelerated obviously because of COVID, and the blessing, and I know it's a little ironic, that we had this telehealth program implemented prior to COVID. Today we call it fast-track video visits. Everything I share with you, brother, will be placed on the chat bar on the bottom. I will provide websites and any information that will enhance what I'm sharing with you because of the time I have to focus on this. But the blessing was that we had this infrastructure implemented prior to COVID. It's just accelerated the program, which really allows us to abide by the CDC and the World Health Organization's parameters, and we get to service these children at their homes, in their communities, at their doctor's offices, working with us through video, as we're doing today. Who would have ever thought we could sit down together globally and have this conversation? So this digital real estate, and I really don't want to digress too much, but and I do appreciate the time just to share this information with you. If anybody on this conference call has the ability to visit a Shrine Hospital, please do. Any words I say to you, any video I can present to you does not do it justice. The word miracle comes to mind, and all a miracle is something that's unbelievable. And I must say that do yourselves a favor, and if you have the ability, visit one of our hospitals, and you'll see true blessings. Once again, I want to thank you. I want to finish up on this one discussion because of the digital real estate that we have today at our disposal. For the past several years, as I speak as a marketing communications officer, I also serve as a district deputy in Grottoes of North America. 90% of my conversation has been focused around the weaponization of social media. And I must say there's pros and cons. We have to be very conscientious of this. Our private, personal point of views, if we're representing ourselves as Masons, Shriners, York Rite Scots, whatever appellate body, court body you're involved with, we cannot have a conflict of interest. We cannot alienate any opportunity. And this is not about us as individuals. It's about we. It's our tenant. So once again, I want to thank you. I could talk all day about Shrine, and I want to really appreciate the time you've been providing me and the patience for me to get through this video technology. So thank you, brother.
Brother Falcone, welcome to the future. You're very welcome. And certainly two very new terms that I've learned today. The one is digital real estate. You should coin that, and the weaponization of social media. I think that's quite interesting. I will allow for some questions at the back end once we're done. There's about 10 minutes there that we have some questions that somebody may have for you. I also have one in particular, but we will get to that later. So for the moment, thank you very much for your time. We will now go into a round of 3 questions where we have 3 basic topics, and the designated responders from the respective chronologists will then have an opportunity to revert where that is concerned. Worshipful Brother Myers, the first question is yours.
Okay, thank you, Brother Edgar. Our first question comes from New York. And as we are grappling with the Masonic restart, and through post-World War I and II in the Cold War, we have seen restarts, but we have never been here before. How are Grand Lodges, particularly dealing with degree work at this point, given the demand, and how will we, in a practical manner, deal with it during the pandemic as we restart? How do we help each other to reopen safely? And how do we give brethren, particularly the older, comfort that this is safe to return to Masonic activity for the benefit of Freemasonry? We'll start the answers with the Grand Lodge of New Jersey, since they've already opened a while ago.
We did open up here in New Jersey on June 15th, and it's been very successful. As you know, New Jersey and New York were in the middle of the epicenter here, and we did go through quite a lot. But in the past few weeks, we've turned things around greatly. So we're very fortunate this time, and hopefully we can continue. But opening up June 15th enabled the brothers to come back in a soft manner. And usually, as you might know, that in July and August months, we not go dark, but tend to have less activities and formal meetings. I did issue a blanket dispensation to business, advanced candidates and degree work, and whatever business that might have to come before the lodge. So this is giving the lodges a great opportunity, and I'm very surprised that a lot of them are jumping on this. As you did mention, there is the challenge of the elderly brethren coming back to the lodge, and that is a consideration and concern that is very dramatic to them. And I can understand their point. And if we don't see them back in the lodge right away, that's fine. But through this technology that we've all experienced, before we did come back June 15th, we did mostly every one of my lodges did hold Zoom meetings on a regular basis. So I still am encouraging them coming back to lodge, but still have a Zoom portion of a meeting 1 or 2 times a month if possible, to bring these brothers, continue to bring these brothers back to the lodge as we did. We've seen a tremendous increase in participation from brothers all over outside of our state who never had the opportunity before. So this is a great thing, and maybe we can incorporate the regular meeting, put it on refreshment, and then have a Zoom and bringing everybody else into it, and have speakers or education, giving Masonic light. So I think we're going to see a transformation into new things in the future. But we're doing well. We've put together a bunch of mandates and directives on how to socially distance and open up the lodges. That is being followed. We did have a few questions in the road, and you're going to experience that. Like my grand instructor rather, and our ritual committee put together guidelines and mandates on how to socially distance and perform our degree work. We've had, in the last 2 weeks, I would say at least 10 to 12 degrees being held, and they all were all in a good fashion and manner, and not sacrificing anything while performing degrees. We're seeing, I have over, I would say, close to 550 candidates in the pipeline, and that's quite a lot of candidates that we're trying to advance. And we're very fortunate in New Jersey. Within 2 hours, we can get to any place. Our main facility is in Burlington, New Jersey, which is kind of in the center of the state. And there we have a close to 400-acre campus, and we have a gigantic fellowship center. Even though we're only limited to 50 people inside right now in New Jersey and 500 outside, we have a tremendous amount of property, land, that we're going to put up a gigantic tent and make that accessible to all the brethren throughout the districts and lodges. If they here in New Jersey, we're learning. It's uncharted waters. We're moving ahead. I'm very happy with this, and hopefully everybody else will experience the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Scott, most worshipful. If we could get a response now from Manitoba, Canada.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see everyone here. And again, thank you, Pastor Lester, for your presentation. We have some interesting relationships with the shrine going on in Manitoba as well. With regards to our situation in Manitoba, we seem to be a little bit unique in the situation that our cases are going down, and we have up until last week, we had a very limited number of cases, but unfortunately that arose from a group that left the province to attend a family function and came back within a community, and it sort of spread there at this time. So we're being very cautious at this point in time to make sure everybody is protected. The one thing we talked to our membership about and the brethren is to ensure that when we put our postings out, that for our senior members and people who have pre-existing conditions, to make sure that to be aware that do not feel pressured to return to lodge unless you feel absolutely well and comfortable with going back to lodge. So at this point in time, what we have done is I've tasked our management and administration committee to come up with the rules and guidelines for the reopening of the lodges within the province over the summer and in the fall. And so our first phase is to make sure we align ourselves with the provincial health guidelines that are going on right now, but to also make sure we can get some activity going back in soft openings to the membership. So we've allowed activities that happen outside and some smaller communities to, if you can keep within the regulations in the province, to go ahead and to start progressing with activity. Our main Masonic temple is still closed down. It will be closed down for the time being until we go through the second phase of deciding what we're going to do with direction. The committee will meet in the next month to discuss how we're going to look at conducting meetings and also degree work in the fall when this activity starts to ramp up. So the committee itself has tasked itself to make sure to figure out how we can progress and do these things in a safe, responsible manner. So we're moving slowly, but we're trying to do this. I'll just let you know right now, our shrine is actually open, and is the reason they've conducted themselves in a way that they can conduct some of their outdoor events and some small fundraising events, and we've allowed our lodges to continue with their fundraising activities and small outdoor events that they can conduct with regards to provincial guidelines. But that's about all we're doing for the next month at this point in time. The next decision we'll be making on the direction of the lodges in the future will be about mid-August. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Most Worshipful, for the. If we could have a response now from the Grand Lodge of South Africa.
Thank you, Brother Myers, and good afternoon, good evening, good morning, brethren. In South Africa, unfortunately, we're only really starting now to hit the peak of this pandemic. And of course, it's different in various parts of the country. But in our main financial center, being around Johannesburg, Pretoria, in the province of Gauteng, and also down in Durban, which is really the main tourist hub, that's where the most infections are at the moment. So at the beginning of this pandemic, the Grand Lodge decided, the Grand Committee decided that we would not do any degree work virtually, and I think in our previous town hall, that was sort of the general feeling. We certainly won't compromise any of our principles in that regard. Our members are being encouraged to go through their book of life. We have a book of life we give each member when he joins, and when he gets passed, he gets a second chapter of that book of life dealing with a fellow craft, and then obviously when he is raised to the Master Mason's degree. As far as going back, we all want to go back as soon as possible. We also guided by the government restrictions. The government restrictions, without commenting on them too much, are somewhat contradictory, because you can attend a funeral up to 50 people, but you can't visit your aged mother or father in a nursing home, and you can't go and visit friends. So rather than transgress or contravene the government restrictions, we are equally cautious, and we foresee that when these restrictions allow us to, we will also have a phased-in return. The elderly members of our lodges, the 60, the 65 plus members, they might be encouraged not to come back immediately, and I think they, in the main, are quite happy with that prospect. But as far as the younger members are concerned, they're all very keen to come back, as we are, and hopefully by the time we have another town hall meeting, perhaps in a month's time, we'll have better news for you. But that's the situation shortly in South Africa, President.
Thank you, Most Worshipful John Smith. Response from Grand Lodge of India.
Thanks for having us on this town hall. The Grand Lodge of India has divided this program, or divided our response into two headings. One is the health and safety, the other is degree work. And the following points are thought to be communicated to our daughter lodges wherever they are present. Number one, under health and safety, follow normal COVID safety and health guidelines. Number two, lodge premises and temple premises to be sanitized on a regular basis, as also before and after meetings. Number three, lodge working paraphernalia, including volumes of sacred law, to be sanitized, maintaining social distancing while seated in the lodge, ensure sterile situations during person-to-person contact, probably using nitrile gloves, etc., non-mandating the presence of brethren if they so desire at the festive board. Coming to the degree work, the Grand Lodge will grant dispensations for degree work on an emergency or more than stipulated manner when the request is in line with the Book of Constitutions. Number two, encourage passing and raising of candidates of a mother lodge in another lodge where for some reason there is no or little working, having one or more degree working during the same meeting. This is our response from the Grand Lodge of India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Sikaria. Stay safe and healthy. If we can move on to the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria for their response.
The Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria will rely on the personal responsibility of every brother to be aware of this health status. Currently, ritual work is active, obeying strong restrictions of government authorities. All official restrictions give us the ability to fulfill degree work in limited presence, not more than 30 participants. Following requirements of distance of 2 meters and mask on face without choreography. Not very comfortable situation, and it encourages us to find a way of maximizing possibly automation of all steps of any one of degree work. It steps on very advanced additional modules to information system for brethren communication. Generally, the base of system could be something similar of iMembers version 4.0 of Grand Lodge of California, plus adds on modules for full automation of paperwork regarding any degree work. The face-to-face work is in serious delay. Full automation of any process except those having choreography element must save us time. We already lost or will lost in the not very clear future of restart. One thing is very important, to deploy a system for education and explanation of necessary changes, especially to older ones brethren. We are working hard in this direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, most worshipful Mateev, and stay safe and healthy. We could hear from the Grand Lodge of Lebanon now.
Thank you, Worshipful Brother Myers. All protocols observed. My brothers, Lebanon is a relatively small country. We are 10,452 square kilometers with about 6.8 million people. I even doubt that 6.8 because we're people in Lebanon travel a lot. We don't have large cases. Confirmed cases in Lebanon as we stand today is 3,407 confirmed cases, of which 1,666 already recovered. Unfortunately, we have registered 46 deaths. I mean, yes, every death is important, every human life is important, but considering the population, 46 deaths is not that big of a big deal. I think we owe that to the very, very, very strict lockdown that the government imposed on everything. And they just started releasing that, easing up on the lockdown, effective the first week of July. So our airport opened in July, and with very restricted number of flights coming in, very restricted operations. You have to have a test that is no more than 4 days old. You get tested again in the airport. So we're trying to contain the pandemic as best as we can in the country. That being said, and the other thing is that everybody, I'm sure most of you agree, that we all thought that come May, June, July, this will be over. So that's why we immediately jumped on the Zoom thing, and our lodges were meeting constantly, and it was working perfectly for us because we were able to join our brothers from all over the world, whether they are brothers of the Grand Lodge of Lebanon, for whatever reason they were outside the country, or other guests and dignitaries that enriched our meetings with their presence. So, but we had this little issue, others who were stuck between their first degree and their second degree and their third degree. So I think the way going, we didn't do any meetings regarding degrees yet. What we're going to be doing is with minimum. The ritual that we use is we adopted it in New York. So basically, New York, right? We only need 7 brothers to perform the degree, and if this continues like this, I think we will open the lodges strictly for at the time being, strictly for degree work. So I think our lodges are big enough to accommodate 7, 8, even 10, 15 people for the purpose of the degree work. Unfortunately, we were not going to have the regular refreshment after that, but we can continue that time. But we would like to continue bringing in people, and we will, at least from now to October, the decision is that the lodge openings will be strictly for degree work. Thank you.
Thank you, most worshipful Taminian, and stay safe and healthy. If we could hear from the Grand Lodge in New York, most worshipful Bill Sardone.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here. Also, let me just thank Dominic Falcone. He's an excellent presenter. I have my official shrine fez here as he was speaking, and I will say there's a couple of things that Dominic and the shrine should talk about at some point, and that is at the beginning here, it was mentioned about how we're seeing issues with membership and this, that, and the other thing. And a historic partnership was formed at our last conference of Grand Masters in the northern conference that we had in Louisville, Kentucky, I believe it was, with the Shriners, the Scottish Rite, and the Grand Lodges are partnering together for awareness of Masonry and to how to do what we said we were going to do all of these years, and that is grow with quality members. So I'm happy to see that, and that was a great opportunity there. And I believe it was the southern jurisdiction, northern jurisdiction, and the Shriners that had banded together for that moment in the heads of each. But regarding what we're doing here in New York, very similar to what most forceful Greg Scott said. He opened up in June. I opened up in July. And we just needed to wait a little bit longer. So what we did is we had this thing where lodges go dark in the summer. And my view is they don't go dark, they just go outside. But I did give a blanket dispensation allowing them to meet if they wanted to. We have rewritten the ritual for opening and closing that is contactless. But I have not published it. And the reason I didn't publish it is I didn't want it all over Facebook. I didn't want it in Masons for Dummies. I didn't want it handed all over the place. So as a lodge decided that they wanted to meet in the summer, they had to make a phone call to one of our Grand Line members that we specifically put in charge of this. I thought we'd get maybe 20 or 30. We have about 150 lodges that have decided to meet during the July and August timeframe. I've given them a wide berth of what they can do. They can open their lodges up, and if there's just a small lodge and the capacity is too much, they can open up and they can go down in the parking lot and sit and talk over their business, or they can go into the backyards and talk over their business, and then go back up to the lodge with a few people, submit it into their minutes, and close. Some of our members upstate have hundreds of acres of land with farms, and I said, if you want to carve out a piece of property and have lodge meetings out there, you can. I said, you won't be using hand sanitizer, you'll be using mosquito repellent, but in any case, you can still be safe distancing there. I have put a video up on nymasons.org. There's a Grandmaster's message that's there from me. And what I did was we took a lodge room in 23rd Street at our Masonic Hall, and we set it up to be socially distanced of how people could be in a lodge room. We put painter's tape where people could sit. We put how many people could be there. We took the master's chair and moved it all the way over towards the treasurer's side of the east, and the chaplain's chair moved it all the way over to the secretary's side. And if the east is too small, we took the chaplain's chair and put it down by the altar. And I made a video that I put out to everybody as a idea of what they can do to socially gather as a lodge to have meetings. And the first thing that they need to do is they have to have elections. They have to have their budgets put in place. But we are not going to start any degrees until October. And even then, I'm kind of concerned about it. And just like the Grand Lodge of New Jersey, we have hundreds, probably into the thousands of individuals. And this is thanks to our own awareness campaign that we had, plus the Scottish Rite Northern Masonic Jurisdictions Path Forward campaign that they had. We have Masons who want to join. I also found a list of Masons who have, or men who have asked to join lodges that was 5 years old, and nobody called them back. I sent them all a letter. 650 of those are still interested. So we are now putting together a packet for those 650 where we're not taking it on the arm too much of why we didn't call them back, but also giving them some ideas of what we have going on now. And this packet's not going to be a regular envelope of brochures. It's going to be a 9x13 small padfolio. So when that comes to their home, it's not going to be another advertisement for a Chinese restaurant dinner or a pizza dinner or something like that. It's going to be something that stands out in the mail when it comes. And we have found in the past that when you send something in the mail that's a different size than anything else, people tend to look at it or save it and review it. And not only that, as a padfolio, they'll keep it and they'll use it, or they'll give it to somebody else to use. They don't usually throw those out. So we have things that we're looking at. One of the things that I looked at last night was in hospitals today, they are putting plastic sleeves on their arms. So not only are they wearing plastic gloves, they're putting plastic sleeves. And every time they deal with a patient, they take that sleeve off and throw it away. Those are relatively inexpensive. And when I looked at those sleeves, I said that could be a conductor's ability to take somebody around, and when we're done, we dispose of that. We're eliminating costumes. We're eliminating a lot of the different things when it comes to our degrees, but we're still working on the degree portion of it. As far as another comment that came up here is abiding by the Constitution. Let me tell you something. The Constitution is not doing me any good. I know that sounds like sacrilege. The Constitution is not doing me any good. As a Grand Master, I have taken a vow to protect the Constitution. And if I don't, I'm held accountable when Grand Lodge session happens. My view is that the Constitution isn't protecting its members, it too should be held accountable at Grand Lodge session. And today, my Constitution is not protecting us the way it should. And it's not because it doesn't want to, it's because we as members didn't do the right things and update it over the years. It's 150, 200 years old since it was touched. The word streaming at that time meant you went fishing. The word plastic wasn't invented. We have so many things that are going on today that are not accountable in the Constitution. And if I abide solely by what the Constitution says, we're going to sit here and do nothing. So yeah, I'm squeaking it a little bit. I'm tweaking it a little bit, and I'm going on the edge a little bit. And we are, I'm not doing this in the middle of the night. I'm talking to a lot of individuals before we make some steps, take some steps that we're taking. But right now, the Constitution has to be updated and has to be given more leeway when something like this happens. If we think that this COVID thing is going away at any certain particular period of time, we're wrong. Yeah, there's vaccines they're talking about. There's all of these things they're talking about. This is going to circulate for a period of time.
COVID going away, we're wrong.
And as a result of that, we need to be able to be adjustable, and we need to be flexible. We need to be creative and innovative. We need to go we need to be out of the box, but not too far out of bounds of what we do. And I'm very concerned in the United States about the recirculation of this COVID situation back to the New Jersey, New York area. The neighboring states have just been put on a quarantine that if they come to us, they got to go in lockdown for 14 days. And they are only literally 20, 30 miles away. And when people start coming back north from Florida, which is what they normally do sometimes, and they go down and back and down and back, we could see some problems. And I am very concerned about how we can keep this going. But we have a semi-plan, and I will not let the situations get us down. We will adjust fire, and we will make things work. And getting new quality members in is the only revenue stream that we really have. It's not money. It's not brochures. It's quality members. And that's the thing that I'm concentrating on going forward. I'm also concentrating on what's our Grand Lodge session in May. And that's something that I'm thinking about, of having Grand Lodge set into 4 different locations. And it's broadcast via satellite to me at 1 other location. And I run Grand Lodge from 4 different spots. Now, the Constitution says you have to all be in the same room. What's a room? A room is in a cloud. A room is now a chat box. A room is what we're doing today. So I'm pushing the envelope when it comes to that. But if COVID is still here, I'm going to need to socially distance 1,000+ men. And other than renting a stadium, I need to spread them out. So, yeah, I'm pretty aggressive in what I'm trying to do here. But I need to not wait for the situation to be at my doorstep. I need to be ahead of it. So obviously I'm excited. I'm hyped. I'm positive. And I'm a lucky man to be here at this time to be able to meet all of you, and also to see how we can continue to flourish during any situation that happens. Thank you.
Thank you, most worshipful Sardone, and I look forward to seeing you in person one day soon, when it's safe.
Me too.
Stay safe and healthy, brother. We could hear from the Scottish Rite Northern Masonic District now.
It'd be the Northern Masonic jurisdiction, Artie. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity to speak. If nothing else, this whole pandemic has caused us all to think outside the box. And I don't think anybody does it better than most worshipful brother Bill Sardone. I really enjoy his approach to this. And within the Northern Masonic jurisdiction, we've got 15 different states, and if we had 15 Grand Masters with the same attitude he has, I think we'd do well. And my hat's off to you, Bill, as always. Our reopening is pretty much contingent upon state and federal regulations in those 15 states, and we will obviously follow them to the letter. Some are changing. I just heard that the state of Massachusetts is about to change some of their restrictions, and hopefully that doesn't involve New York, because that'll make it more difficult for me to get to work at headquarters every day. Anyway, Grand Lodge dictates, of course, coming into play here, and then local valley guidelines as well. And everything needs to be, as you mentioned, everything needs to be structured for the comfort of our brothers. Over the past 3 months, we've created some programs like our Thursday night at the right that allowed for video screening of some of our degrees. It was a very popular program. We had the last one the other night where we showed a rather unique degree, and it was again very well received. We're working on a digital reunion, if you will, coming up shortly. I'm not sure where that is in the progression, but it will be another quiver or another arrow in our quiver should this pandemic continue the way that it's going. We've restructured our annual meeting, which was supposed to be held in Portland, and it would have involved our active members and our emeritus members, plus their families. And we changed that to a meeting that's going to be held in Lexington, Massachusetts, at our headquarters. The active members that can travel comfortably, those with that can drive for the most part, will be able to attend that meeting in Lexington, fulfill our obligation to have a quorum, and we'll do business that way. And again, everything that we're doing is designed to increase the comfort level of our program. Let me backtrack just quickly to the Thursday night at the right program. As a result of that program, we had in excess of 1,000, and I think close to 1,500 members who renewed their membership just so that they could participate in that program. And the majority of those brothers were senior members, and excuse me, and we were really pleased to see that. Most of this function is being covered by our membership chairman, George, and he does an excellent job with it. So with that, I'll relinquish the mic to my friend Rich, and if he has anything to add to that, that'll be fine. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, illustrious Semia.
I think Pete covered most everything that we're trying to accomplish in the Northern jurisdiction. And it's interesting to see that everybody is trying to do a lot of the same thing, and then hear some of the new and different things that people are trying to incorporate in order to move forward. And I think that's why we're all here today, to learn those new and different things and small things that we might be able to pick up on and make a better experience for our members going forward and trying to get through all of this. Brother Sardone has certainly done a great job in New York, and he always does a good job at whatever he does. And I think the thing that we need to carry through, that we can gain most from Brother Sardone, is his energy and his anticipation and his approach and everything that he does. So I thank you for sharing that with us today, Brother Sardone. And we all hope that we can pick up on your energy and carry it forward in our individual jurisdictions and work to make the best experience possible for all of our members. And in the sharing here today, we will do so. I think that the virtual reunion that we're working on in the Northern jurisdiction is going to be just a tremendous experience for our membership and for adding new members. And our Path Forward team is working diligently to make that program a success. And we're going to track, how this is attended and what the experience gains for each of our members after the fact. And we'll be able to share those statistics with all of you, which I think might be very, very interesting. When we started doing our video degrees, we never had any expectation that they would be used in the manner that we're using them today and provide us such success. It was a very controversial thing when the jurisdiction started these degrees. And it's been a huge success. And as Brother Samiak said, it's brought a lot of members back into the fold, especially those older members that weren't participating anyways. And it's enhanced the experience for them greatly and re-energized that sector of our membership. So we're excited about what's happening in our Scottish Rite, the Northern jurisdiction, and happy to share any of the things that we find are successful with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, illustrious Elliot, and stay safe and healthy, both of you. If we move on now to Scottish Rite, South Africa.
Thank you very much, Brother Arthur. First of all, let me say that the Scottish Rite in South Africa obviously is not isolated from the rest of the world. We are as much part of, as the Grand Master has also explained, of a lot of rules and regulations currently stopping us or preventing us from having meetings and workings. Obviously, what we're doing at this stage is to ensure that we concentrate through the instruments of Zoom and various other instruments, so that we also promote education and lectures amongst the brethren, and also make use of this opportunity to make sure that the executive on its own do a lot of work that obviously, so by the time we can continue with having proper workings and proper meetings again, obviously that we will be ready for that, and also rectifying some of the old, even whether it's our constitution or whatever. But on the end of the day, I think we are under very strict control by government, even in travel arrangement, in meeting arrangement. So it's really for us at this stage basically impossible to have normal advancement meetings. So we are waiting for the relaxation, but as things are standing in South Africa, and most probably you have seen it on your own news, I think we have now increased to number 5 in the world, and with the anticipated peak within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And so for the remainder of this year, we are convinced that it's going to be very, very difficult to continue with any normal Scottish Rite activity in our lodges.
Thank you, illustrious places, and please stay safe and healthy. Having been in New York and living through that first wave. See, nice to meet you. And if we could move on now to our Royal Arch.
Unaccustomed as I am to speaking without preparation, I can echo certainly just about everything that has been said. The joy of being able to get together with so many wonderful people like yourselves today is one of the few benefits we have of this pandemic. And I have to take guidelines from Bill Sardone, the Grand Master of New York, in the steps outside the box that he has been taking to make things happen and be prepared for us to be able to move as soon as possible. We are happy to join and work with him and with all the bodies in whatever can be done to make it possible for us to meet and continue our Masonic activities. Thank you.
Thank you, most excellent Ted Harrison, and I look forward to seeing you in person again soon.
Indeed.
Stay safe. Now I'll pass the torch back to Brother Barron to continue.
Second question is literally an update on reopening worldwide. I did notice that a number of the responders did, in a sense, touch on that question already. So if there isn't something in addition that you want to add, you can certainly do so. So in the United States, we have seen the results of opening without a sound strategy. The 28 states were looking at their reopening plans, and some cities and states consider some form of going back into lockdown. South Africa is starting to peak, as we've heard, with pressure on the health system, and India has gone back into some form of lockdown as well, in some way with trade bubbles with countries like the United States. How has this impacted our restart plans, and when are we likely to see reopening of lodges? We will start with, well, New Jersey is already open. If you want to respond, you can. Otherwise, we can obviously move on to the next lodge if you can.
Brother Barron,
Yeah.
I think I'll pass. I think I've covered what I had to say about our openings, and hopefully we will all stay safe and we can continue under the current path. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Brother Fodo from Canada.
Well, thank you, but I think I covered that in that other topic. We're our opening will be slowly opening over the next in a few months, so we're just moving ahead. That's all I have to add to that.
Okay. South Africa.
Well, sure, Brother Barron, thank you. I also covered that, but I do want to say, brethren, you know, our annual meeting would have been held in September, and rather than mess about and decide, you know, can we, can't we, we've decided we're going to bring it forward to the 22nd of August, and we're going to have it a virtual meeting, and we hope to have a large number of our brethren present at that meeting, and we'll make it as interesting as possible. And you know, brethren, I've also been listening over the last couple of months and doing some research in South Africa, and it showed that after the Second World War, we had an absolute peak in men joining Freemasonry. In fact, in the 50s, the 1950s, and the 1960s, and flowing in up to the middle of the 1970s, we had more Freemasons than we've ever had. So, brethren, we're not going to be despondent and look for excuses and to try and, you know, if members leave, they leave. I'm going to certainly, as far as the Grand Lodge of South Africa is concerned, we're going to prepare for a surge in Freemasonry. And if we have to have lodge meetings every week, once we can open, that'll be great. So, brethren, as soon as we are open, we'll let you know. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brother Smith. I'm going to go directly to India, Brother Zakaria.
Thank you, Brother Barron. As a matter of extra precaution, our Grand Lodge had closed, has not allowed any meetings up to the 30th of August, 2020. And beyond that, it will depend on what the federal and the state or provincial governments have as a policy. Thank you very much, Brother Barron.
Thank you very much, Brother Zakaria. Brother Mateev from Bulgaria, you have a response?
Thank you very much, Brother Brown. The Grand Lodge of Ancient, Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria has been given time with this situation, and we are using this time wisely. Currently, we are working to describe in details all processes in an old manner of normal open lodge gathering, and in the same time, digitizing all our archives and making them available on our website. It should result in finding balance of management of necessary resources, like presence and non-presence of brethren. Having in mind the balance, we shall prepare a strategy and management of process of opening of lodges. We have also reformed our view upon our annual International Freemasons Conference, which will take place online in September. I invite you all to participate in it to see and ask authors of papers regarding the strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Mateev. Brother Timonian from Lebanon.
Thank you, brother. Like I said before, our lodges are very strictly and very I mean, they're all meeting, organizing Zoom meetings, and we're going to keep that going. And our very limited meetings will be strictly for degree work, and it will be with restricted numbers. At least that is the decision till October, and then revisit this at the time. Thank you.
Hey, Brother Timonian, for New York, Brother William Sudan.
Well, if we have another hour, I'd be happy to take up your time and give you some more information of what's going through my head. But
Yes,
I think I covered a lot of it. And I agree with my colleague at the Grand East about World War II, and it ended. My issue with World War II ended with a signature. The COVID situation, I don't know, that's going to end maybe with a vaccine, a shot, or whatever, and that still has to filter out to the entire population and still has to get everybody's mindset back in. It is a different type of challenge, and it's one that we're ready for. And the fact that we're looking at it ahead of time is good. So I'm ready, and I'm sure we all are in our own separate ways as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Scottish Rite Program, Masonic Jurisdiction.
Thank you again. It just looks like everything seems to be in a huge state of flux right now, and we're going to have to be very flexible with our plan. And probably we'd be better off to plan around some flexibility rather than try to get back to business as usual. Just in the last half hour, my colleague Rich has shared a change in protocols in Massachusetts that might now affect how we handle our annual meeting in the end of August. So again, it's a matter of being vigilant, staying flexible, and doing what we can to keep our membership and members engaged and interested. Thank you. Rich, if you have anything else, please chime in.
Pretty much all set, Pete. I agree with you. There are things that we're going to have to continue to do, but as time goes on and whatever is related to all of this changes, we're going to have to adapt and change. And I think that's the most important reason why we can have these conversations here today. So thanks to you all for sharing, and thanks, Edgar, for the opportunity to participate here today once again.
Thank you, Brother Elliott. Scottish Rite South Africa.
If I may, I think hindsight in all of this is that we must be cognizant of the continuity that Masonry brings in meetings. Both our Grand Lodge and Supreme Council have suspended any degree working and focused on Zoom meetings, for which we have all done regular monthly management meetings as a way to keep the brethren connected. And I think when the time comes and medical evidence, and my brother Franz Ruth is a medical doctor and advises us that we will only see a relief of this COVID in South Africa probably by January next year. When we do resume, that we would not have lost the connection that we have with the brethren because of the electronic media that has allowed us to communicate. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Mullenbeck. Brother Harrison, do you want to make a last comment on that?
Thank you, Worshipful Brother Edgar. I think for the first time in my Masonic career, I'm going to demonstrate an act of wisdom and refuse the opportunity to speak. Let it be so recorded. Thank you.
So recorded and so noted, Brother Harrison. Brother Responders, thank you very much. We've managed to do that in 10 minutes, so we could actually tighten the reins a little bit. Brother Myers, the last question is yours.
Thank you, brother. Technologies like Zoom have allowed us to form a Masonic and social interaction. Events like this Masonic Town Hall have bridged the communication and interaction gap between brethren, lodges, and grand lodges, and appended bodies. As we are still able to have a knowledge exchange beyond what was previously possible, we are investing in technology training to ensure that the online method of education and knowledge exchange continues. Do we still see a Freemasonry or individuals and between grand lodges? And if we could have a reply from New Jersey, Brother Scott.
Thank you, Brother Art. So as we sit here and talk about our current technology, that is totally outdated as we speak, as we probably well know. And what I think we'll all experience in the future is the acceptance of technology as a way to advance our fraternity. And it's going to be a very important part of our fraternity. I have 9 grandchildren, and some of the little ones can run circles around me right now with the technology that's out there. But you know, I'm aware of that, and I've got a very good group of men that are working on several of my committees. My grand instructor and educator, Mohammed Yatin, and grand historian, Moses Gomez, who I think a lot of you know have been very out there on the Masonic talks throughout the countries. And we have to keep on top of this. I feel it's very important, something that's going to be very enlightening for all our lodges. Education, light, is going to come through technology, through our Zoom meetings, through social media. And, you know, I think it's a big part in the game in the future. I think Brother Rich and Brother Peter, please give my regards to our Sovereign Grand Commander, who the proud Malay boy from Clifton, New Jersey. And I thank the Scottish Rite for all their technology and support that they have given the Grand Lodges throughout both jurisdictions, which has been very important to us. In New Jersey, we have a Scottish Rite representative in every district, combined with a Grand Lodge representative, and they're working very closely to bring a lot of this technology that the Northern jurisdiction has given to us, and it's been a big game changer. So I do realize that technology is our future. We have to embrace it and get on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Scott. Can we hear from Brother Fardone, Canada, Montauba?
Thank you. Yes, I mean, I look at this point in time, when you look back in history, I know our respected members from South Africa was talking about the fact that we had a number of increase of membership after World War II, but I think we have to, I was looking back in history, and we look at some of the things that happen out of these kind of dark times that happen, and you go back and look at, I think this is a renaissance for us and compares to the Renaissance. We're coming off a dark time, but from this we're blossoming into some great potential and growth at this point in time. We're seeing increases in people wanting to do this, so we've established to join the membership. So we've established a first contact committee that, even though we can't put in people in the degree, we have a committee coming from the Grand Lodge, so they're contacting people to make sure their interest is still, their questions are answered, they're exploring opportunities, and understanding that while this pandemic is going on, it might take a little longer, but we're trying to work through that and keeping in touch with the members that are trying to who want to join our craft and fraternity. Zoom is, of course, and technologies are playing a very important process in our members. We're having refreshment hours and festive boards on Zoom at this point in time, even though we're not having some official meetings, and there's been some good relationship building, and I was going to say lodges are conducting their business of the management of their lodges through Zoom as well. So technology is going to play a tremendous part of what we're doing as well in the future in this time, and we're trying to look at doing a lecture series right now, and task the education committee to come up with a series of lectures and programming that we can conduct online that people can participate as well as design a certificate in Masonic education program that, even though we're not meeting, might encourage them to explore their Masonic education in the future. And we're also have something that's unique here that if you're interested in joining, attending, my first official visit as Grand Master is on Wednesday night, but it's to attend our Castle Island Virtual Lodge. We have a virtual Masonic Lodge within the province of Manitoba that has members all around the world, and they conduct regular meetings at this point in time of Masonic meetings, and it's been a great process, as I said, and I see this as a partial way of the future that we will see the Masonic Virtual Lodge expanding over the future. We have another one that's in Australia that's starting up, and I think this is another way that we have extended that relationship around the world. I mean, we've been very fortunate with this situation to meet through the town hall, but a virtual lodge, as I said, is going to open the doors and narrow the ability for people to visit. I mean, it's going to be, opens the ability for people to visit the lodges. And if anybody's interested to explore that and see how this works, please feel free to contact me. I will try and set you up with the information. The meeting is the 29th. But these are all things we're exploring as the New Age and Freemasonry. The next Renaissance is coming, and it's happening. And I think we're trying to embrace this if possible. And it's going to be to the betterment of Freemasonry. I believe we're going to see tremendous growth in the next 2 years of people wanting to join the craft and explore what we're doing. And mediums like this allow us to do this. So I think we'll be working very hard to, with our technology committees within our grand jurisdiction, to advance this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Fordeaux. Could we get a response from the Grand Lodge, South Africa?
Thank you, Brother Myers. I read an article the other day, and my opening comment was the remarkable truth about extreme adversity is that something good always comes out of it. And that is true of COVID-19. I mean, the reality is that we are now having meetings such as this one. We are having meetings within our own Grand Lodges, which were unthought of before. They were unprecedented. We as a Grand Lodge, we have in fact been putting quite a lot of effort into our technological advancements over the last 3 or 4 years. But the arrival of COVID has accelerated the pace dramatically. Going forwards, I mean, we quite clearly do not see any substitute for online, for active degree meetings, and I'm very conscious of the fact that our brethren just can't wait for them to start. But beyond that, when we talk about education, when we talk about committee meetings, when we talk about management meetings, I can see a great deal of those continuing to be online, even when we are able to get back into full action. Because quite frankly, you know, we were talking about it the other day. We have our senior management meeting. Now, normally we will get 65–70% of the brethren in attendance, because the size of the country is such that not everybody can be at all the meetings. The last 3 meetings have been online. We've had 100% attendance. Wow. And that is the difference. And it's because people can. We're also being exposed to some remarkable things, like just this past week, Ted Harrison came along and gave us a Royal Arch lecture. That's the sort of thing we could only have dreamed of before. But it's now practical, and I really can't see us stopping it. So I think technology is here. It's not going to replace the key elements of ceremonial, but it's certainly going to play a huge part in the rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Edwards. If we're going to pass over and go right to India. Response from India, please, Brother Zakaria.
Brother. Thank you, Brother Mayers. why we've been having quite a few meetings, intra jurisdiction meetings over con calls, and post COVID we have moved on to the the webmail and webinars and so on and so forth. Post the COVID, we are very happy to meet with intra-jurisdictional meetings like this, where we've been able to understand and comprehend the views from other jurisdictions. Well, that's really a great learning for all of us in India. The other point which was there in your question was about the introduction of technology and newer modes of instruction. Here, it is we have a slight restriction in terms of bandwidth and local, both at the individual and local levels. So, wherein we are not able to implement some later, more sophisticated technologies which require a higher level of bandwidth. Having said that, during our large board meetings, the large committee meetings, and Masonic educational meetings, we have younger brethren helping these more senior brethren to put up their deck for display and for presentation, upload, etc. Thank you very much, Brother Mayers.
Thank you, Brother Zakaria. We'll move to the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria, Brother Mateev.
Thank you, Brother Mayers. The Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria has considered the positive sides of blockchain technology, like a next step after Zoom. We have started prior to the COVID-19 situation a process of spreading information on different online locations in order to have it 100% accessible and secure for the next generations. It is obvious for us that the Zoom type of communication technologies will get more and more popular in Freemasonic interaction. The perfect example as per our visitations is the virtual Masonic education series of Lexington Lodge #1 and Rubicon Masonic Society of Grand Lodge of Kentucky. In all different lectures, decorations and ceremonies are using as background real picture of ritual work. We believe that in this way, Freemasonry will get more united through the process of the free exchange of information. Never before have we had the ability to communicate 24/7 on a global scale. We have seen what the negative effects can be if we do not share information and knowledge and stop to use it. We're investing in technology from the year 2015, and anyone participating in our third edition of International Conference shall have chance to ask for details in adopting a blockchain technology to the normal process of opening lodge, including degree work. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Brother Mateev. We'll move on to the Grand Lodge of Lebanon. Rafi, or Brother Timonina.
Thank you, Worship Brother Myers. Typically, in terms of crisis or catastrophes, such as this one, such as World War I, World War II, whatever, where actually our activities were totally crippled, and we had to pretty much shut down and wait for things to get over. This technology allowed us to continue. Actually, there's a lot of benefit in this. In our lodges, for example, in our local small lodges, when you have 30, 40 brothers, you would call that a very, very good meeting. And of course, depending on the number of brothers you have, but that would be considered a good meeting. To come to the Zoom meeting, we are actually reaching numbers 40, 50, 60, and not only brothers from Lebanon, we're hosting brothers from others. Some of you were guests. Brother Edgar attended some of them. Brother Patel, even Most Worshipful Mateev was in one of our meetings. So what I'm trying to say is this technology is giving us the opportunity to spread the word, to allow us the opportunity to learn more, and actually not only learn from each other on what's in our books, we're also learning from other people's experiences coming to us from a different country, from a different continent, a totally different set of mind that is bringing this to us in Lebanon, and it's enriching our lives. So we're going to continue this regardless whether we open or not. The Zoom meetings, I think at least for Grand Lodge of Lebanon, are here to stay. It allows us to reach out to maximum amount of brothers and in the convenience of their homes, and they can participate with this. So that's where we stand.
Thank you, Brother Taminian. Stay safe, healthy. We'll go to Grand Lodge in New York, and Brother Sardone, you'd like to say a few words?
A few words. A few words. No, I'm fine. I appreciate everybody's patience, everybody's time. I love this job. I love all of you. God bless Freemasonry and all of our countries that allow us to flourish.
Amen.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Sardone. Scottish Rite, Northern Jurisdiction.
So let me kick this off quick by saying somebody out there, won't mention any names, Brother Sardone, brought up my boss being a simple country, or excuse me, just a DeMolay boy from Clifton, New Jersey. Here's a little heads up for you. He just copyrighted that statement, so it's going to cost you $100 every time you use it. Every time you call yourself a country, a DeMolay from New York City. So get your pocketbook and your wallet ready. In any case, Scottish Rite, especially in the Northern Masonic jurisdiction, we've invested pretty heavily in technology for our future. And it's evident, I'm sure, by some of the programs that you've witnessed coming out of our headquarters. And believe me when I tell you, that's just the beginning. We've got one heck of a young and energetic staff. And the good part about that group is they're unencumbered by any of the baggage from the old days. You know, we've never done it that way. They're not used to operating in that environment. So they do really well for us. And you give them a challenge and they run with it. So that's the philosophy that illustrious Brother gladly has instilled in our organization, and that's what it's going to be going forward, at least until 2027, and I'm sure it'll continue well past that. Rich, want to add to that?
I have actually a library of thoughts on this topic, but there's one thing that I do want to share. This technology has certainly enhanced our ability to move forward in this troubled times. You know, last year I had an opportunity to listen to Jason Dorsey, who's a leading generational speaker, one of the leading speakers in the world. And basically what this boils down to is communication. We're talking about communication with our members. And we need to keep in mind that we have members that are very young up to an age of pretty old. And in order to communicate with all of those members, we need to keep in mind that they use different methods for those communications. So although this has created an opportunity for us to stay in touch with our members, I'm going to remind each of us that the real basis of our fraternity is built on a bond, a brotherhood bond. And that we create on a one-on-one basis, the ability to go up to a brother and shake a hand. And when this all ends, we need to remind ourselves that, yes, this technology did help us to get through this, and it needs to be a part of our future. But we need to realize that we can't let this govern our future simply because it makes it easy for our members, convenient for our members. You know, if I don't have to remind all of you that you've been to conferences, you've sat in meetings and sessions and PowerPoints, but some of the most valuable information that you can gain from those conferences is when you have an opportunity to sit down with a brother in between those meetings or at a dinner after the session and share some of the most valuable thoughts and those insights that are really what's going on in your organization and what's happening. So although technology is going to be a vital part of us moving forward, I think we need to remind ourselves that we can't rely on this simply because it's made it a little simpler for our members and easier for them. Everything in life isn't going to be easy, and it's going to be a challenge going forward. So thank you for the opportunity once again.
Thanks, Rich. You made some good points. And there you have the pros and the cons of it.
Thank you, brothers. Now we'll move to the Scottish Rite South Africa, please.
Not to abrogate my duties, but perhaps my Sovereign Grand Commander would like to make the concluding comment.
I think from my side, Brother Arthur, all that I can say on the end of the day, which is in agreement with what everybody is saying, is how do we, as Masonry, going to capitalize on the technology that is available currently and also future technology. Because what was said here today is whether we are going to continue in the near future with going back to our normal degree meetings and going back to our lodges. Technology is going to be with us and is going to stay with us for the rest of our existence. So we really want to be part and parcel of the rest of the world in growing into a world of technology that we can use to the advantage for our members. Thank you. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, Brother Plessis. And now the Royal Arch, Ted Harrison, Brother Harrison.
Thank you, worshipful brother. The comments regarding the surge of interest in the craft after the Second World War, actually, we had the same situation in North America after the Civil War and in the world after the First World War. And it's been studied that the main reason for that was the bonding experience that the servicemen experienced in the military. They came home and they lost that, and the craft offered that. So that was one of the reasons why it picked up from there. Similarly, following the Korean War and the Vietnam War, there was no interest, no resurgence, because they were unpopular wars, and the trend just didn't follow. But taking note of those facts, plus the fact that I'm a member of the Grand Lodge of Massachusetts as well as the Grand Lodge of New York, and both had noted significant increase in interest in prospective candidates, contacting them through the various means that each had. And now, prior to the pandemic, the Scottish Rite, Northern Masonic jurisdiction, Southern Masonic jurisdiction, and together with the Shrine and the North American Conference of Grand Masters have got together with an extraordinarily enthusiastic and dramatic program and plan, which is very, very successful. But taking all of that in hand at the moment, and with the Royal Arch's concept of the universality of Freemasonry transcending political borders, I think we're really in a tremendous stepping off point to see a very, very significant improvement and increase in our Masonic membership following this pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Harrison. And we're going to pass it over to Brother Edgar at this time, but I just want to say one thing. Please, all brothers, stay vigilant and cautious and stay safe and healthy to you and your families. Pass it back to Brother Barron at this point.
Thank you, Brother Myers. Brethren, we have 9 minutes to the hour. I was hoping to get back to Brother Falcone, but I think if you have any questions for him, perhaps an email will suffice in this particular matter. I would now like to recognize the Most Recent Brother Rafik Timonium from Lebanon for closing comments. Hopefully he doesn't have any. And to declare the 4th International Masonic Town Hall closed. Brother Timonium.
I have prepared a speech that was going to be about 45 minutes, but I know hurry, so I'm gonna bring it down to something very important. I'm gonna borrow.
Grandmaster, please give us the speech, please.
You know what? I'll email it to you. How's that?
There you go.
I will borrow a part of something that most worshipful Sardon always says. Most worshipful Sardon always says, remember that Freemasonry doesn't stop, it just moves outside. So I end all my meetings with my lodges by saying that remember that Freemasonry doesn't stop, it reveals itself in every aspect of life. It reveals itself every time we shake somebody's hand. It reveals itself every time we sign a contract, every time we sign an agreement, every time we say hello to somebody, every time we reach out to help somebody. Technology provided us with something that is unique. Ever since human beings came into this world, they always looked for tools and stuff like that to enhance their lives. Whether it was to hunt, whether it was to plant, whether it was to communicate, and hence the technologies that we have. Masonry is a science. We were taught, this is what we were taught. Masonry is a science taught by degrees, in degrees. So here we are using technology to continue working together, to continue enhancing our lives, to continue benefiting the world around us. So that being said, I declare the 4th International Masonic Town Hall closed. God bless you all, and please be safe.
Peace be with you.
Thank you, Brother Demayam. Closing remark from my side that needs no response. A little over a week ago, the socioeconomic impact of this pandemic came knocking at my door. From an attempted break-in from a homeless person seeking shelter from a storm, ended up sleeping in my car in Cape Town, to an immediate relative in the health sector testing positive for COVID-19, and then a suspected COVID-related death in the family, to my largest client ending our contract prematurely due to financial strain due to COVID-19. It all dawned on me that there are very few people in this world who are untouched by this calamity. So no matter how we are impacted, there are always those who are much worse off than we are. We are not, nor have we ever been alone. The great architect watches over all of us. We have a brotherhood of men under the fatherhood of God. So to you I say, Namaste, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom, and peace be unto you.
Abide with me, fast falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. When other helper fail and comforts flee,
Special thank you, as always, to my co-host, the now worshipful brother Arthur Myers. I hope it was a valuable experience and that you will join us for the 5th International Masonic Town Hall in August. I wish you all well in your families, your jobs, your businesses, and communities. Peace, love, tolerance, and understanding. And all that is left for me to say is to the brethren in the United States and Canada, South America, good afternoon. The brethren in South Africa, Africa, Europe, good evening. The brethren in India, namaste and goodbye. God bless, stay safe, say no to racism, and with that, brethren, all decorum is sealed and suspended, and this platform is open for casual and social interaction. Those who wish to take their leave are at liberty to do so, and those who wish to remain, you're welcome to do so too. Thank you, brethren. That ends our time.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. Brother
thank you, Edgar.
Edgar, I will contact you on Monday.
Absolutely. Anytime you want, I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edgar. Wonderful afternoon.
Thank you very much. You too.
Edgar, thank you again.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Brother Edgar. Much appreciated.
Be
You're
safe.
very welcome.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
Edgar.
and Master Rafi and
Be safe.
Master Bill Stardone. Thank you.
Fantastic meeting, Edgar. Well done for coordinating this again.
Thank you so much. Hope to see you at the next one.
Well done, Edgar. Great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Harrison.
Bye a donkey, Edgar.
Bye, welcome.
We had some of our officers, Grand Line officers from the Grand Lodge of Lebanon who were joining us. We had our Junior Grand Warden, the Grand Secretary, the Grand Lecturer, and we also had the District Grand Master of Syria Lebanon under New York attending us. So I didn't get the chance to acknowledge them before, but I think it's time to do that.
You represent us. Thank you for your
Nice
work.
to meet you, brothers.
Time well spent. Time very well spent.
Exactly.
And we also have Brother Gil, Right Worshipful Gil Calderon, who is our ambassador for the Americas. He is helping us with anything related to fraternal relationships throughout Americas. And thank you for being with us, Gil.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Grandmaster. Thank you so much.
Well, you guys have a nice weekend. Be safe and remain healthy. Love you all. Bye.
Bye. Edgar, will you send out the video content again for this meeting?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That would be wonderful. Evan, I hate to do this. I have to run. I have another meeting I have to attend to. I never seem to get far from my chair and the computer monitor, so it's another Zoom meeting. So take care, and we'll see you next month. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye, Brother Fidel.
Thank you, Mahmoud. Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye, brethren. Stay safe.
Nice to see you both.
Bye, Brother Patel. Hey,
Goodbye,
Gil.
Brother Myers. Thank you. Worshipful Brother Edgar, thank you again for another outstanding town hall. And to all the other brethren here who participated and contributed, we look forward to the next one. Many thanks.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Brother Mateev, have a good weekend.
Take care, Brother Man.
Brother Casey, Brother Abreu, have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Master.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye.